Inly teachers are unique because they're really dedicated. They're dedicated as teachers, but they're dedicated in the Montessori system. Not just teaching a subject, but teaching the whole child. And really saying the whole person is important. It's teaching about character, it's teaching skills, it's teaching about being the person you want to be. Understanding who am I and who am I in the world. The hand that was dealt to us this year was not the best poker hand. And it seemed, I think, not only to me, but certainly to all of the teachers, really overwhelming. Where people would go, what the traffic pattern would be, what would we have to have in our health office, just a million questions.
Not knowing how it was gonna work, what it was gonna look like, what all of the protocols were gonna mean for being in the space and teaching classes and having lunch and doing recess and all of those things that, just not knowing what to picture, I think, was the biggest hurdle.
It sort of felt like standing on the edge of a pool with a diving board and not knowing what was in the pool.
Knowing the community you work in, knowing the teachers you work with, knowing the energy that's there. You did feel like, well, we probably can do this. We're not quite sure, but we probably can do this.
We really are what I call the can-do kids. We so firmly believe in our hearts and minds what is right for kids, and what was not right for kids was being on a screen.
It impacted their mental health, it encouraged procrastination, just sort of weakened their confidence.
Sharing a space and making good eye contact and having a relationship, which is really essential to good teaching.
I was determined right from the beginning to open school with everybody here, looking at what's happening in the world, what's happening in Massachusetts, what's happening in Scituate, and what should happen at Inly.
We really weren't looking for answers, but we were just looking for new ways to do things. And it was given permission to just expand what you have.
They trusted our expertise in sort of balancing what needs to be done while caring for the kid, while looking out for everyone's health.
We were, as our only space given, the meeting room. When you walk in and just see a giant conference table, you're like, how are we gonna do this? But then, once the room was cleared and it's kind of easier to see it, shifting our thinking to let's just think of these two spaces as one classroom. What would we put where? How do we make this feel like one cohesive community, even though we are separate?
Live within the constraints, but hold on as much as possible to hands-on learning, to collaboration, and check and double check and triple check. Have I maximized this new space for those things that are our core values?
It was bumpy a little bit at first, but behind us is the support of our level teachers, and there's also the support of our admin. There was the support of Donna, there's the support of Dee. I never felt like we were there alone. All the nurses here, Ryan and Kate, we love them and we trust them, so we knew in our hearts that they were going to do the right thing for kids.
You did feel cared for, and you did feel like, well, things are in place and things will continue to sort of be put in place when the needs arise.
And then the surprising thing was that the children walked in the door and all of a sudden everything just happened. I think kids are that way, they're resilient. The teachers were very well prepared. I think we worked really hard on setting up structures so that they could feel comfortable and confident and competent in the new rules so that everyone could feel and be safe.
By the time that first car rolled up on the first day and the first kid got out, the prepared environment was settled and ready to go, and those essential elements were there as much as they could be. We talk a lot with the little kids about filling each other's buckets. It was so bucket filling to be back together, seeing people and having the energy that comes from being together in person.
The kids are sitting farther apart than they might otherwise be. There's a little bit more managing of if we're working in pairs that we're not on top of each other, but you wouldn't know that you're in a pandemic if you saw class.
You know, if a student is sitting in front of you, this person is in front of you. You have to care for that person, right? And it's a lot of needs. There's like the social needs, the psychological needs. And so that sweet interplay between these two, quality education and caring for this person who is sitting in front of you behind that mask, has really kept me with a positive attitude, because there's always a challenge, but there's always a way to get through it.
The level of dedication, the level of care and concern for every single child at every single level, they're just the amazing teachers they've always been. And I think that that's a hallmark of Inly. It's openness to grow, and openness to change, openness to be willing to say, I don't know everything.
Any classroom that's together goes through ups and downs and conflict, and it's not possible to have a class meeting of 24 kids in one space. And each teaching team has come up with their kind of like own unique solution to how to make that happen. And going outside, or having sort of concurrent meetings, having meetings that happen on Zoom with each other. The relentless inventiveness to just keep saying, what's best for kids? What can we do? Let's make it happen.
Our co-curriculars really had to dig and expand their whole job description. Thomas will bring the kids outside and just do all this incredible outdoor experience with them. Ellen will bring the kids sort of on these little mini field trips all around campus. Colleen brings in her joy of poetry and music. When Marisol comes in, it's almost like a Spanish immersion time.
Kids are so flexible, so if you're just kind of like, this is how school is now. Kids are like, yeah, okay, I'll wear a mask. Like, cool, I just like really want to see my friends. Sometimes it's just sit and look in a fish tank and wonder about a frog and be completely present.
They're just so filled up by being in a space that's made for them. It was like magnet energy of coming back each morning.
Pretty much every day during the fall, someone would bring up as a gift that we're in school and that we're still in school and that we hadn't had to go home or anything like that. So I think that they see the results of that work, and they understand that if we do the right things, we'll be here, and that's really what everyone wants.
Inly is growing, and I'm very proud of that. I think people are seeing that we're doing a beautiful job here in this way with every single child. I think that matters, of course, for parents. We're really at that tipping point of saying, can we be a bigger school? Can we do this work for more children? And I would give it a resounding yes.
If you can have a community of learners who are caring for one another, who are following the protocols, who are encouraging one another, who are pushing themselves, seeing through others' perspectives. If you have all that in a year like this, next year, I mean, the possibilities are just endless. We can do anything.